All right. Okay, so guys, we're gonna get started, ready to go. So we wrote, I gave you guys some code to run. I printed it out. So on our first one, we gave it some numbers, and we printed out the list. Second one, we used this keyword new, and then we printed out the list, and we got a whole bunch of zeros. So do you guys have any idea what new does then? Well, we have what goes through and prints it all. But what does new do? What does it do with our array? Anyone? So, for no one guessing, so what new does is it's a nice keyword. It creates something and fills it with the default value, unless we specify otherwise. So we said values. We specifically said we want to give it 5 values. We want to give it 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. With numbers, we said create a new array, and we're going to give it a length 5. And what it does is it says, great, here's 5 spaces. The default integer value is 0. So here you go. So when we printed out the one to get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we printed out the second one to get our set of zeros. So this is a little bit of an intro to the array. So the great thing about arrays is to avoid repeated work. So for example, if you have, you're going to try and print out the month, it's not very useful to go, if it's, if you keep it as a number, you look at the date, it's like, this is 7 for July. It's not very useful to go if it's 1 print January, if it's 2 print February, if it's 3 print March, April, May. It's 12 lines of code that you can do in one shot. So this is going to be a really quick intro to the array. So I'm going to give you a number, integer value to start out. You want to create like some int, like a, and then you're going to create an array. And you're going to fill it with strings that are the month. You're going to have 12 of them. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and so forth. And what you want to do is you want to be able to give you that number. You give it a number, and it'll give you back that month. Okay? So...
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
People got it? Got the. Still thinking? Remember, give a number. If I give you like the set, like in our date, we give you 7. You want to give July. We give you 1. Should give you January. I'm going to give you some number that's to start that month. First month is January. Second month is February.
Wait, July is
You can just print the date. If I give you some number like 6, you got to print out June. Okay? So here's all the months, and you just want to print out whatever one I give you. So if you put a number 12 in, you should, and you want it to print out December.
free not do that. Why would you do that? Yes, very nice. What? We're gonna list them all next, actually. Oh. But so you can think about that one next. But for now, just print out one. Okay. Give it some number. Print out. Why are you printing off my number? Why? Because I don't want it to be like, oh. Yes.
Oh no.
Perfect.
Why not?
Wait, what?
Is everyone else getting close?
That's also
Yeah, I don't really have a lot. I don't have time to clean up or anything beforehand. There's times where I'm just like step on Legos, like thank goodness I have shoes on.
They're very respectful kindergartners. Mine did.
Hello. Everybody.
Back in my day, I used to make other people chemo. But obviously that was back in the day, 1965. Okay, kid, pick that up. What are you doing? What is that?
Yeah.
Why are you?
Are people that haven't raised their hand close or lost? Lost?
Yeah, because you missed it last week.
Oh, okay, missing last class. So when you're accessing an array, you want to use the same notation for the bracket, and you want to give it an index. It starts. Basically there's a list of values. When you create this list, it numbers it starting from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. To access it, you give it the name, you give it the brackets, and then you tell it which one you want. Okay? So you create. I gave you this, right? You can type this out. This works. So I'm just creating some numbers. So if you have this, basically I gave you some numbers. This is like the month when you write your date with the date. So like for example, July is the 7th. Today is 7/6. I just care about the month. So here's 7, and so I want this list starts from 0 and goes up to 11. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I want to give it 7 and say I want you to print me like July, okay? Because I gave you 7. So you want to access it. The convention for getting a value out is you give it the name, you give it brackets, and then in the brackets you give it a number. And that's where this number comes in. Yeah, no, you're fine. That's fine. This is the line. You're in the print line. So okay? It's right here in this print line that you want to put just one little snippet of code. Okay? And the convention is you give it the name, and then brackets following it immediately, and you put a number in the brackets. Like this. Like that.
Oh.
Okay? So if I wanted whatever is at slot 5, and remember it's numbered from 0, I would do that. Okay? I'll give it like another minute, and then we'll go over the answer.
Can you code in other languages?
Yeah, I teach 3 other programming languages here.
No, like not like language, like German or something.
Oh, you can, yes. But the convention is to do it in English.
Yeah.
The convention is to do it in English.
See, like that's wrong. Think of Japanese. I'm gonna do that too.
Got it? So you want to use this value when you're accessing this array. So right now you have a equals 1, and you want it to give you J. So what you so if I want to put 1 in here when I'm accessing it. I want to get January, and that's at element space 0. So I'm gonna really quickly go over. So for accessing your array, for this one right here, we basically give it the name. We're gonna give it some brackets because it's an array, and then we have to specify some index that we want. So I want to print out July for 7. If I type 7 and print it out, it'll give me August because the numbering starts from 0. So this will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, and then 7 will be August. So to correct that, just subtract 1. So I'm going to give it A, subtract 1. And look at our lovely working code. So step on more Legos. What happened? Seems, oh, I missed a comma. Whoops. I'll steal this really quick. Add a comma. Okay. All right. Bam, there you go. July. Not here on a basketball. So if we wanted to print out January, it's the same convention. Same thing, we can just switch this to B, and -1, and we'll get the same. We'll get January. Same thing for 12. So here's now we're gonna do one more part really quick with the same code. So you can delete this part right here. Keep the list of months. So for the next part. Actually, you can keep the print line as well. Actually, I'll keep this for now. What happens if you try and print out 13? Error. So we call that out of bounds. You can try it, and it'll on IDE 1 it'll give you an error for sure. It'll just say probably runtime error. Yeah. So just to show off, this is the official error. IDE 1 doesn't actually give you the correct one. It'll give you this nice block of red text and say exception array index out of bounds, meaning you tried to go for a location that doesn't exist. Okay. So now we're going to keep the code, keep everything, the month part. You can delete the rest. Now I want you to print out every single date, or every single month. Okay. Start from January, print all the way through to December, and make sure, don't print them on new lines, print them with a space in between each one, okay? So just to reiterate, you're probably going to want to use a loop, and you're going to want to print every single date. Yes. Yeah. It is around the corner. I'm actually not sure. Yeah. So, like I said, print out every single date, and don't print it on new lines each time. Print it with a space in between each one. Okay. So keep it all in one line. Good, obviously. Just gonna go about this one. Looks good. All the values.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, so you're saying I equals 0 and you say I is greater than 0. So what that happens is it creates I, it says it's 0, then it says it's 0 greater than 0. That's false. So it never executes any of the loop. It skips the whole thing.
But you're super close. People getting close? Yeah. People getting close? Kind of. Getting there. Yeah. As a hint to people who are trying to figure out the loop, remember you can use length, dot length. So if your loop's name is months, you can use months dot length to get the length of the array, which is a very helpful counter for your loop when you're making your comparison for your counter. Can you get another minute? Alrighty, we're gonna really quickly.
Oh my god!
We need to go over.
What the heck happened?
So I'm gonna go over my answer. Come on, guys. All right. So for my way to do it, my for loop starts at 0. It goes up to the length. Remember that's what that dot length does. So the nice thing, this is a common format for your for loop. There's a lot of times you're going to use a for loop to iterate over an array. This is kind of an example. Your loop counter for this kind of thing, where you want to get every element from it, is usually I equals 0, and you want to go up to the length. Okay? So knowing that chunk of information right there, especially noting that down for later, will come in handy. As for printing it out, you access it with months, and since we want it to change each time, we're using our loop counter when printing it out. So we get months I, which remember when we first go through the loop, it goes to I is 0, so it'll print out months at index 0, which is January. Then we increment, we're going to get 1, so when we print out months 1, it'll print out February. Skipping up to 11, we're going to print out months 11, which is December. Then we're going to get to 12, and 12 is equal to months.length because there are 12 elements in it. So it's not 12 is not less than months.length. It's equal, so we exit the loop. Okay? Was that not clear how I got to this part? Any part of how I got the answer? Yes. So I would avoid doing equally both for the record. Just that's a dangerous. Yes, 1 second. That's a dangerous thing to do. If you jump past that, because you're looking for exactly one value. The reason mine's a little safer. If I jumped by 2s and I accidentally missed the value you're looking at for whatever reason, then I don't keep going forever. It'll always stop when I pass the line. So my next I'll always be the bounds of my array. Because for example, I could jump at 11, I could jump at 14. Until your loop would continue to say it's true, because it's just not 12. Okay, what's the question? You're only printing value. Wait, what's this mean? They want to change this time. Most. Okay, so yeah, just to clarify, I'm printing out months I each time. I'm not printing out any number. I'm printing out I'm putting a variable into months each time for my index because it changes each time. That's kind of how this works. If you talk about it on a high level point, okay? So I goes from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 each time through the loop. Okay, so now you can delete months. You can delete months and you can delete your for loop. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to swap values. Okay, so create an array. You can give it any size, preferably at least 2, so you can swap it. and then pick two indexes or indices and swap them. So if I'm using my months, for example, I want to switch January and February. I want February to be in month 0, and I want January to be in month 1. Okay? So you can do integers. You don't have to do strings. That's fine. Just swap two values. You're gonna want to think about this one. Yes. What?
No, that's not. You want to type in strings?
Whoa.
You can always use control or command max command, but command Z will undo your work, and it'll bring back something you deleted. Oh, as well.
So remember, what you're doing is you're creating an array with at least two spots. Put two numbers in it, like 10 and 30, and you want to swap them. So you want to put 10 where 30 is and 30 where 10 is. Okay. Oh, swap. Do not use swap.
That's not a thing. Is that a thing?
It is, yes.
What?
You don't get to use swap. You're not using swap.
Oh wait, you can't. Dude. Wait a minute, I'm doing it. Wait, no, that's not how it works. It works. I mean, yeah, it works, but like, that's not how But if I should you see that? I'm gonna
I don't know how to do this stuff. I don't know. So are you telling me not to search up how to change things?
What? No.
Do not Google how to do it. This is something for you to think about and run, and then see what happens. Okay, that's the majority of what we do in this class is going to be. Okay, if you Google the answer, you don't really learn anything. The point is to try it, get it wrong, think about why, and ask a question as to why it didn't work, or think about another way to do it so that it will work. Okay?
That's nice. I don't think do that.
So because the point of this is there's a way you think it works, and then that's going to most likely wrong, and then you're going to go, why is that wrong? And then I'm going to show you why it's wrong, and then you're going to get it right, and you're going to smile and be happy, or be angry.
You got a success. I got a success.
Print out the values if you want to see them. By the way, I feel like print out the values if you would like to see them at the bottom. Like if you have value, if your array is called values, print out values 0 and 1, for example.
Why
You
can't
have-
I suddenly go to stack up?
Do not go to Stack Overflow.
Oh. Let's stack
Yeah.
up. Basically.
What is that?
Stack Overflow is pretentious people. Like answer your questions.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
He's trying to smell it. What do I have?
Stop.
Do you know what that means?
Stop.
He's right, that means stop. It means what wrong? What can you change just one day more? Indian is definitely a language.
That's Sanskrit.
What?
But I don't know.
People trying it, getting frustrated. Obviously, why doesn't it work?
He got a success.
Just get it as hard as you can, and then it'll work for you.
There's actually a good story for that.
Why did he explain? I just watched this company story.
You just got this? Why does it have this?
So as soon as someone gets this, so as soon as someone asks what's wrong, I'll come explain it.
What's wrong?
So you tried to swap it, and it duplicated the value.
Say what now?
Is that what happened? You put in 10. You put in like 2 numbers. You tried to swap them.
That's not. Oh. You haven't changed.
Did you create 2? You created an array of length 2. It has a 0 and a 1. You tried swapping the values. You assign one value to the other. And what happened?
It says 0.09. That's
Dude.
Are you printing out an index or just the whole name of the array?
I don't know what.
Can I find a symbol?
Then what are you expecting to get out? If you don't know what you're printing, you don't know what you're going to get.
Wait, so you said there is not supposed to be swap,
You start
right?
I from 2.
Okay. So.
Okay, that means it's zero change.
So
Yeah.
remember, indices start from 0.
Oh right.
You started your
Oh,
thing at 2.
So
I
one.
can write English.
You started your array at yeah. So you started your counter at 2, and the length of it is 2. So you checked if the length was 2.
Wow.
So you said is 2 less than 2, and it says no, 2 is equal to 2.
Oh.
I'm so confused. though.
You're gonna search it up. What about this kid? Wait, what am I
Do not search it up.
We never. What does it mean?
Don't worry about it.
When we started.
Anyway, so swapping 2 values, you guys now
You're still getting like, is it there or is it kibble? That's what we're wrong. You can copy my values, right? That calculation.
You're the one copying my value. You're the one copying.
I didn't tell their teachers. He said it and then he doesn't care why.
Wait. I think I got it, but told me runtime. Is that a problem?
Yeah.
yes, error is generally a problem.
Okay. Would you? No, I mean swap the actual values. So if I were to print out 0, or well, I don't have it up here. So if there's 0 in slot in your array in slot 0 and 100 in slot 1, I want 100 to be in slot 0 and 0 to be in slot 1. And I should be able to give you 2 numbers, and I can put it in as values, the first 2 values in your array, and I can swap them no matter what, okay? Not just print them back in it. I want you to swap them. If you want to think about this differently, you can create 2 variables and put the numbers in each other. So whatever's in A goes into B, and whatever's in B goes into A.
So,
A equals B or something like that.
Part of it.
I see it.
Swap 2 values. You have 2 variables, A and B, or 2, preferably an array, locations 0 and 1. Swap them.
you're gonna use swap.
No, I'm not going to use swap. I'm going to
Is
use.
swap an actual thing?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is a thing. It's 3 lines of code, guys. Hint. 3 lines of code. It takes more to print.
Is there a hint?
It takes more to print the numbers if you use a for loop than it does to swap.
So you say 2 lines first.
Oh, so you're saying
Oh,
give
A
up so we
equals
can
B. I know.
Excuse me, never seen that.
It's
very
very
fast.
word.
Yeah, that.
You assign A to B and B to A.
Oh, okay, no.
You're thinking about
Yeah. Things he knows.
Whatever
Things.
why did you enlighten us?
Yes.
I just think that.
Just a sign that tells us
That tells me absolutely everything.
well, we're out to do it. I think it's like saying, hey, you want to know how to swap? Just swap.
Just swap it.
Just
swap, man.
Swap. You spell swap wrong.
SWAP. What is it?
Wait, oh, it's the
Excuse me, that is very rude. Yes, I am.
Oh my god.
Wait, what?
nice.
Yay, I failed. What a success.
You got a success.
What
Wow,
a
what
success.
teaching
I
us?
failed.
What happened though?
I always
So
fail.
I put in. Okay, you gotta put one in. You gotta put one value in one location, one in the other. Two variables. 2 variables. Numbers in each. One goes into the other.
Is it Giovanni?
What are you seeing?
Benji? Oh my god. No.
Don't say it. God's name me.
What? Don't fight in vain.
Wait, wow, kimchi, that's Nandayo.
Yeah, that's in Japanese.
No, it's not. It's Chinese. You speak Chinese?
Come on, guys. 3 lines.
What are you saying? What are you educating him on?
Yeah, it looks nice.
Okay. No, why don't we do that? I swear. Say it one more time.
Come on, focus. Come on, guys.
Brain is in solid mode, so it's like 50% battery.
You have 2 variables. One has one number, the other has the other.
What should
Put
we-
one there and the other there. Done. Swap. I've told you exactly how to do it.
Wait, what?
You have 2 variables. One has one number, the other has another. Put one here and the other there. That's swap. You have an A and a B. B goes in A and A goes in B. Write the code, run it, and figure out what happens.
No.
Why can't it be in English?
I'm gonna give it another. Gonna get one more minute, okay?
Oh my gosh.
I
Lost.
thought it's actually.
You get one minute.
Ready? You got it. I looked it. I do it. No, I don't think that works. Oh, horse is not fun.
Why is there a horse?
30? Wait,
A couple seconds.
No.
Got it. Last one.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't get it.
Okay, ready? So here's probably the answer that people came up with. You want to swap it. You take one, you put it in the other, and you take that one, you put it in the other. Right? Swap.
Wow, I have so much.
A into B, B into A.
Oh my god, I'm using a.
So
Yeah, me too. I thought.
if you write this code and run it, does this actually swap them? Gonna find out. The answer may surprise you. So it doesn't. So just assigning A to B and B to A doesn't actually swap the values. So at this point, it's important to remember how code runs. Okay?
So it was like a impossible.
No, it's not an impossible question. There's one line of code to change this, to make it work.
What?
But yes.
I think I heard that was wrong, but I'm not sure.
I'm going to cover an answer in a moment.
No, I didn't.
So it's important to know what happens here and why this doesn't work before I talk about the answer and why it does work. So what happened was I had an A and I had a B. So what I first said was I want to assign A to B. So I said whatever is in B, put it in A. So I took 42 from B and I put it in A. Now A and B are both 42. Now I said assign B to A. So A currently has the value 42 and B currently has the value 42. So you assign 42 to what currently has 42 and this line does basically nothing. Then it prints out, I print out my values and get two 42s. Okay?
So B equal B.
Wait. How do we make A and B the same number to start with?
A equals B. A equals B says take B and put it in A. A was 50 when we started. Okay? So you want to. So the sign's one to the other, and then they're both 42, and now your 50 is gone, and then you assign 42 back into 42.
Oh wait, can we just like use the not integer and oh wait,
What now?
So
Say what?
oh smart.
Okay.
We get it. We get it. We get it. Just now tell us how to do it.
one more line of code. So
We get it. We don't have to flex on it.
so here's a swap. Here's a swap that I'll correctly swap them. So remember, A started as 50, B started as 42. I'm printing out A and then B in a row. I get 42 and 50, the correct swap. So the important thing to know is that code runs line by line. When you do this kind of like, when you say, oh, just to put A and B and B and A, you're doing two tasks at the same time. Computers can only do one task at the same time. Okay? So what happens is we're taking a placeholder. If you guys want to see a demonstration, I can get 2 volunteers if you guys want to see a demonstration.
AJ, do you know?
So, can I get one? Yeah, one more person? Thank you. Go, you're right there. Okay, go sit in the chair. Okay, so you can't get out of the chair, but we need to get into the other chair.
Oh.
And remember, you can only one person can sit in the chair. So this is the kind of thing you're saying when you say put one in the other. If you try to sit, you sit on someone else, then you lose the other person. They disappear. Okay.
So only they have to swap.
So yeah. So here's how the swap will work with another one. So I'm going to introduce a third chair. I'm going to say this is my temp. Okay. They're currently A and B. So we're going to run through it. So we can get one of you guys to sit up, move from one chair to another. Now we move all the way over, and then finally we move back into the original.
Oh.
And that's how swap works with the temp. Okay,
Amazing.
you guys want one more time?
No, I said it.
Stop.
Stop.
What the heck?
One more time. We have A and B. We have A and B. So
Oh, wait a second.
I'm gonna move. Yeah, it was fine. So ready? We have A and B. We're gonna move one over. We move into our temp. We assign it over, and then we overwrite the original. Is this clear now?
Yeah.
How this works?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the swap thing though?
So there's a function that just runs those three
No
lines
wonder
together.
it sounded like Japanese.
What's it? It's swap.
It's called swap. Yes.
So how do we do that?
It's kind of not worth your time. Let's try to do it for now. Is that clear now? How swap is? So it's just a little bit of a all right. So now that you understand a little bit about swap, we're going to do one more. More swapping, yes. So now swap three values around.
Pass.
Okay. Same thing. I swap 2. You want to swap 3. So if I have A, B, and C, I want to put A and B, B and C, and C and A.
Okay, now.
Yes.
Wait, do you make like an extra one? Do you make an extra one?
Could you move 3 people around with 3 chairs?
Yeah, do you have one extra one or 2 extra ones?
You need 2 extra ones? It's for you to think about.
How many make?
So
Okay, so I need
make 3. So for this one, you want to make 3 integers. You can name them A, B, and C. I want the number A and B. I want B and C, and I want C and A. Okay?
Okay, so A, B.
Whatever's in A goes to B. Whatever's in B goes to C. Whatever's in C goes to A. Think about how the swap works currently. And we're going to bring up more chairs to do this again.
Then it's 4. So it's still over here. It's still over here. It's still over here. It's still over here.
Stop. What?
Your Japanese is so pretty.
Now that's 5-year-old is probably crazy.
What? What? I have some things.
Oh, I put something. No. No.
Did I just do?
Bert, I know 30-30.
Why the heck did I just do?
Wait, so if you have to move, if you want to swap it, then that means it's right backwards.
No. You wanna put whatever's in A, whatever's in value A, the integer. You wanna put that in B. You wanna put whatever it's in B. You wanna put whatever B has in C, and you wanna put whatever C has in A.
Okay.
Oh, I see now. I know that.
Why doesn't this work?
Wait, can you put the other one up first?
Yeah.
I have these, so. Yes.
So here's how you swap 2 values. Remember, it's this chunk right here. We used an extra placeholder. So how could you swap 3 values?
And then walking away.
I said you.
That's mean.
That's me.
That's like making
You sound like an anime character.
Yes, I am.
you people. So that's fine. Mitsubishi.
You say that and push up.
AJ side. Mitsubishi.
You're very obsessed with cards. Cards. Not cards.
Are your car?
I have a car. Or what?
You have no sheep to your family.
Oh,
Savage. Yeah, you can, what do you want with sheep? Why did you do that? Why not?
Oh, I get.
Oh, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, no, yeah, but you're smart. You're smart. What's that? Got it? Daughter. Wait, what is this? You sound like that.
that's means I.
I have one person who's got it.
Equals to.
Welcome 3 values.
How is this one?
Think about the chairs.
C.
Think about the chairs. Look at them.
Wait.
Wait.
There we go. Wait, next one.
Wait, I reversed it. I did the other way around.
I think it's B, A, C, D. So 1 and 2 is supposed to become A, right? I mean, like.
Either way works.
C.
I wanted the contents of A in B and the contents of B in C. But if you put the contents of A in C and the contents of B in A, that's fine too. Okay. Either way, swapping all 3 around is fine. As long as you don't lose a value. That's what I'm looking for.
I think I got it.
Wait, why is it A plus quotation marks plus B?
Just to print it out so I can see it.
People used to say that.
Yeah, so then wait, I need to
You have to think about the code line by line. This one, I created a temp, I put A in. Then I put B, then I assigned the contents of B to A. So in this one, if you're looking at the code for the swap for 2, the first thing I did was I duplicated A, then I overwrote whatever A was with B. So the first thing I actually did was assign the contents of B to A. So remember, when I say A equals B, I'm saying the location A receives the information in B.
Oh my god.
Alright. Anyone close? Anyone else close? No idea? Got it?
This is your information.
Oh no.
You didn't scream loud enough.
I think I did something wrong, like really bad.
Okay, we're gonna give it another minute.
Oh, sure. Wait, okay, so I put B to A, but A to B.
30 seconds.
Okay.
So I go A to B, B to C, C to A.
Yeah, that works.
A to B, B to C. Oh. Okay, A to B, B to
Two.
B to C. Oh, shoot. No, you can't say what I say.
15 seconds.
Oh, you can make another N.
B.
Yeah.
We're just the same. A to B, B to C.
5 seconds.
Yeah,
What is this?
I've given up on that.
Oh, I think.
All right.
Wait, hold on.
Okay, here. We're gonna do a show. We're gonna do a show of hands. Okay. We got a lot of different answers. How many temporary variables did you use? There's 3. You can raise your hand for 3.
I did it.
How about 2? 2 temporary variables.
I don't get this.
How about 1 temporary variable?
That's weird. How'd you do that?
Wait, what are you talking about?
How many temporary variables did you use? I have 1 temp right here, for example.
Use 0.
How many? No one used 0. If you use 0, I'll be impressed.
That's not possible. That's not possible.
Is it?
Okay.
So. Okay, so people with 2 temps. Someone that did 2 temps. How'd you do it? We're gonna bring up some people. I need 3 people.
Wait, I'll pass. I already did.
Okay.
Julie got it.
No.
Okay, we're gonna need 3 people.
Oh, he's Julie.
Okay, 3 people.
No, I look at it, so I need to look.
What?
3 people. 3 more people.
Oh, okay. You guys, we're here. Let's go. So yeah.
Okay, okay, so this is gonna be for someone who used 2 temps. Okay, to swap 3 values. Someone 2 temps.
What?
Okay, can someone with 2 temps also come up here? We're gonna explain how the 2 temp swap works.
Sarah, come on.
I don't get it. I got it really wrong.
2 temp swap.
No.
1, 3,
I'll use
1. We're gonna show 1 in the moment as
I
well.
made it 1. I should go.
2 temps. Anyone? I saw a couple answers for 2 temps.
I did it wrong.
Wrong. Okay, I'll show the 2 temp swap for right now. So I'm not going to put this code up here because I'm going to put up the one temp swap, and then I'm going to show you the zero temp swap. And
That's not possible.
or is it?
Ooh.
This the 2 temp swap without a 0 temp with a swap is possible. It's just not what you expect. And then there's 2 temp swap with only 1 line of code as well.
No.
So here's a 2 temp swap. Everyone scoot over 1.
What did
Okay.
I do wrong?
We're moving everyone over 1. Now move everyone over 1 more time. Now move all the way. Now move everyone all the way down.
I did.
All the way over. You guys gotta keep going. Yeah, that's fine. So we can do this. That's fine.
Bro, what? We're just too smart. We thought of it. That's right.
Okay. Everyone kind of see how I use both temps.
Switch.
Okay, so I'm gonna take away 1.
Start here.
Now I'm gonna show off the 1 temp swap. This is the one that I'm gonna type the code out for people who did the 1 temp swap. So here's our code. Here's our code for a 3 temp swap. Oh, I missed a semicolon.
Isn't that illegal? No, that's what I do at work. No, because you haven't.
All right.
I keep doing.
I did that. But it still went the wrong way.
Okay. Okay, ready? Here's the 1 temp swap, which is what you're gonna see as the common swap. and then you'll see the library. I'm going to show off the library swap, which swaps it without a temp. Okay, ready? So we're going to move a temp into A. So I'll move one person over. We slide all the way down, slide down, and then all the way down. Okay? That right there, that was technically swapping with seat. I used temp equals seat, and then did the same thing. But okay, did everyone understand that one? That was a 3 temp swap. Three values swapping with 1 temp. So if I was able to swap 2 values with 1 temp and 3 values with 1 temp, how many temps do I need for 4? Or 50? Or 100? I want to swap 100 values. One temp. Okay? So now the question is, how can you swap with 0 temps? Yes. You don't get how the swap works? Or why your code doesn't work?
No, it doesn't work.
You're printing out A and B. Oh, you're not printing out C.
Oh.
If you guys want to see the value C, you have to print it out as well, just an FYI. This is only going to print out A and B. Add another quotation, another space. So, if you wanted to print out A, B, and C,
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Stop. Oh, okay, I get it. Oh.
okay.
What about what she did? Want to switch places? I don't want to get into this guy.
All right. So, do you guys want to see swapping without a temp now?
Wait, are we gonna just touch each other?
No. I mean, if you really want to, but so you guys want to see swapping without a temp now? Sounds a little wild.
Do you know?
So this is how Java does a two temp swap. We're not going to use any chairs. We're not going to demonstrate this. I'm just going to type the code out for you guys.
Wait, how would we demonstrate it?
You'd stack a little bit, and then there's a couple subtractions. So it'd be a little interesting.
Do you know?
All right, so we have our 2 temps. And this is going to be a little bit of a math gymnastics here. Okay? Okay?
I go on, or he goes on.
So, yeah, so this you may not want to imagine with chairs. It'll be a little awkward.
I think you guys should demonstrate YouTube.
Okay, Jay, you're watching.
That was Jay.
Oh. B equals A minus B. A, yeah, okay. So,
B equals to A minus B. A
started with A at 50, B at 42. A is now 42 and B is 50.
Oh, I don't get it.
So 0 temp swap.
Yes.
Again, this is well outside the scope of your class, but this is just for some fun. And then I'll show it on 1 line too. You don't even need 3 lines.
Okay. The swamp sensing teach us. Sensing teach us.
I don't get any of the swaps somehow.
Any of the swaps?
I only know how the chairs work.
The chairs work? The chairs were your variables. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So if I moved one person into a temp and then everyone took the place of the person to their left, you could say I can move C into temp, then B into C, then A into B, and then I still need to move the original value I took in the temp and put it back at the start. All right. So explaining how. So this takes advantage of the sum and difference rules in math to swap without a temp. So if you think about it, it's a little weird to think about. So if I said A was 50 and B is 42, so I assign A the value of A plus B. So I'm going to give that A the value 92. So now that I've done that, I'm going to say B is 92 minus 42, which gives me 50. And then I have A equals A minus B, which is 90 minus 42. Or Yeah, and 92 minus 50, and I get 42. And that's how you get the swap. Okay, so this is.
HDMI cable.
Yeah, one more time. I was legitimately wrong.
No worries. I just meant that we're gonna need your HDMI.
The cable. Okay.
Okay. Okay, catch it, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So you guys ready to see the swap? The swap with one line of code.
No.
Yes, sir.
No, what the heck? What?
Oh.
No.
A swap A, swap B, B swap A.
One line of code.
Oh yeah, that's about there.
There's your swap on one line.
Let's see.
So this is not something you will ever encounter probably again until someone asks you, "Can you swap on one line?" And you go, "Yes." The crazy guy taught me. So this line is well beyond the scope of an intro class. This is called a bitwise shift.
Excuse me?
So when you store information, it's bits. So what this does is it's going to call an assignment on a bitwise shift from A to B to the assigned B to A.
Okay.
So it bitwise shifts everything into the other one basically. So it takes the numbers and swaps them across. Okay. It's a little complicated to understand how this works, but I'm going to leave you guys with that. And there's no way that'll work with chairs. So I'd recommend thinking about swap, and we're going to talk about nested loops next time. Okay? So
Stop. Wait, what is it? How do you pronounce it? We're learning Japanese.
learning means.
Rocky
I'm not like 30. I know Papa Frankie too. Like, come on.
Wait a minute. Do you know about pink season?
Yes. There's what we're allowed to talk about and that.
Where's my phone?
Go there,